Hello everyone. Welcome to Kim's English Korean Culture TV. My name is Eddie. When you try to hear my voice, many foreigners might think that I'm from United States, but I'm from South Korea. But I had a chance to settle down in United States and in some other foreign countries because of my the parents' job. My parents' job used to work as the big companies in Korea, so that's why my family had a chance to settle down in foreign countries. Today morning, I saw the news about the fact about the United States economy and social welfare system and education in United States. So I heard that one of the American man who speaks the Korean the language very fluently that they really had that hard time to struggle in United States. I could able to understand that now these days there is a lots of the global warming issues like a tornado and everything. According to this opinion, I think that it might be true because that the typhoon is a very hot issue in the United States. When you try to look at the country of Texas, Texas is located near the Mexico and is located the southern part of the United States. So that's why that he really tried to that being worried about the country. He really worried about the country, the United States. So actually, his wife is from Korea, so that's why he really wanted to go back to that other foreign country. Okay, this might be the good issues about the sharing information about the country of Korea. First of all, that I'm going to describe about the Korean education system. Korean education system. I like to briefly describe for that. When you try to understand about the Korean education system, and it's very important to understand about the statistics between the 1960s and 2000s and everything. During the baby boomer generation, according to baby boomer generation, that means this might be the Koreans might be born from 1950s to 1960s. My parents were born in the 1950s, so that's why I can able to describe more about the Korea. At that time, when you try to think about the country Korea, we usually get a fact about Korean War since the 1950 to 1953, and after that, the many the people really had the hard time to having the economic the troubles and everything. So at that when you try to understand about at that time, I could able to say that during 1960s in Korea, it was a very similar the situation in America. As you know, in America, that I think that many American people think that it's not very important to send as the universities in United States. I think that the South Korea is the one of the most enthusiastic the country in Korea. Let me try to describe about the fact. During the 1960s to 1980s, at that time, there's a lot of economic development at that time. During 1961, one of the military government, whose name was Mr. Park Chung-hee, he was the former South Korean president in Korea. He used to develop the economy the very well. At that time, the Korea was a very the poor country. Many people are very struggling at the time. I used to live in India before when I was young, but the most important point that I can able to describe is that when people are getting poor, then there is not much a chance to get as an education system. So many people are working as a servant and everything. But after that, during the 1990s, I hope that the most Korean people are very smart at the time. It might have also lots of issues about why the Korean people become a very the smart and genius as Americans. It's because during the 1990s, at that time the military government has been over. During the 1980s, we usually fight against with the dictatorship and autocracy and everything. At that time, during 1990s, former South Korean President Mr. Kim Young-sam, he tried to make as he tried to that establish many universities in any other cities. So in America, I hope that lots of universities are there. Maybe about we have a famous university like Harvard and any other universities, but in Korea, we do have a 300 universities at the time. So many people are going to the university at that time. So let me try to describe some issues about the Korea. In Korea, um, if many I mean if many Korean students are graduating the universities, which is not very famous, then they lost their chance to have a job. So according to Korean societies, I can able to say that the many people want to enter the good universities like the Seoul National University, the Yonsei University, and Korean University at the time. So I'm going to share with you about some of the issues about the what kind of things has been happened at that time. I'm going to describe this in that issues in Korea, which is the very the important case in Korea. This the situation has happened during the 2000. Let me try to just share with you about this case in Korea. This has been happened that the one of the children, that they he tried to murder his parents at the time. As a matter of fact, whenever we try to murder that the parents that at the issues, then might not be a very good thing at the time. But there's an important case about the why that many that why many that he tried to murder his parents is because the first reason is because of education. When people are entering the good universities, then many other people want to enter the good universities. So sometimes the Korean parents are trying to force their kids about you should enter to good you should enter to good universities like a Korean university every time. So he might be under the he might be under the very burden at the time of having education system and everything. So um he tried to concentrate on studies and everything, so he could able to enter the Korean university at the time. But even though when he entered the Korean university, then his parents are on that are not being unsatisfied about the entering the Korean university. So there was a lots of the violent issues at home and everything. So he was a very burden about the stress and everything. So finally, he tried to murder his parents at the time. So it might have some pros and cons about that Korean people are very enthusiastic about the education, but the cons is that the when the education system in Korea becomes more competitive, then many Korean that the children feel the very that the burden about entering to good universities. So what happened was many children they tried to murder his parents and everything. Of course, that the murdering other people is a not very good issues in around the world, but this case has a lots of issues of something like that. So I don't know that if this kind of cases has been um, described as in English, but let me try to look at the Korean. Let's try to look at the Korean issues about whether this kind of issues is available in English. I'm going to show you. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any the issues about the English cases, but this is a very important cases about the cases of what has happened in Korea because of the education system. So of course, it might have some pros and cons about having a good education. Education becomes more competitive then, but if the education system is very competitive and very that strong, then this kind of thing has been happened that in Korea. So I hope that now these days the K-pop because they're very famous in Korea, but this might be the good issues to share with you about if the Korean education system becomes more competitive, then this kind of situation might be very happen. Okay, I'm going to share with you about the pros and cons about the Korean education system. Okay, this is the issue then. Then whenever when you try to visit my website, then why don't you subscribe about the issues about this case? So I'm going to share with you about the more things about the Korean education system and culture and economy about the pros and cons. Then I think that it might be a good chance to understand about them everything. Okay. Have a nice day, and I'm going to share with the next episode about the Korea. Thank you very much.